The Philippines, a nation of over 7,000 islands, is a paradise on Earth. Lush rainforests teem with life. Coral reefs shimmer beneath crystal-clear waters. But this island nation is facing a grave threat. The Philippines is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. On average, 20 typhoons batter the archipelago every year, a number exacerbated by warming ocean temperatures. These are no longer isolated incidents. They are stark reminders of the planet's changing climate. The Filipino people have always lived in harmony with nature. Their resilience is rooted in generations of adapting to the rhythms of the land and sea. But climate change is posing unprecedented challenges. Rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and ocean acidification threaten their very existence. The beauty of the Philippines is at risk, and the world must take notice. The Philippines' story is not just a local tragedy, it is a global warning. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more erratic, the impacts of climate change will be felt worldwide. The plight of the Philippines serves as a reminder that we are all interconnected. What happens in one corner of the globe has ripple effects that reach every continent. The time for action is now, before it's too late. Climate change is not a distant threat for the Philippines. It is a present reality. The science is clear. Greenhouse gas emissions from human activities are warming the planet. This warming is leading to a cascade of effects, including rising sea levels, ocean acidification, and more frequent and intense extreme weather events. The Philippines, located in the western Pacific Ocean, is directly in the path of many of these climate-related disasters. The country's geographical location makes it particularly susceptible to typhoons, which are becoming stronger and more destructive due to climate change. Warmer ocean water provides more energy for these storms, intensifying their winds and rainfall. Coastal communities are bearing the brunt of this increased intensity, facing devastating storm surges and flooding. Inland areas are also feeling the heat. Changes in rainfall patterns are leading to more frequent and severe droughts, impacting agricultural production and water resources. The delicate balance of the Philippines' ecosystems is being disrupted, threatening biodiversity and the livelihoods of millions who depend on the land and sea. The situation is dire, but amidst the challenges, there is a glimmer of hope. The Filipino people are known for their resilience and determination. The Philippines has a long and storied history with natural disasters. Situated along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the archipelago is prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Typhoons have been a recurring threat for centuries, often leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The country's location and topography have made it inherently vulnerable to the forces of nature. However, climate change is adding a new layer of complexity and urgency to these existing risks. What were once considered natural disasters are now being amplified by human-induced climate change. Sea levels are rising at an alarming rate, threatening to submerge entire islands and displace millions of people. Coastal erosion is becoming more severe, jeopardizing critical infrastructure and livelihoods. The Philippines' history is a testament to the resilience of its people. They have endured and rebuilt time and time again in the face of adversity. But climate change presents a different kind of challenge, a relentless and escalating threat that requires a different kind of response. It is a challenge that demands global cooperation and a commitment to sustainable practices. The impacts of climate change are already being felt across the Philippines. Coastal communities are witnessing the encroaching sea swallow their homes and livelihoods. Farmers are grappling with unpredictable weather patterns, leading to crop failures and food shortages. The delicate balance of the country's ecosystems is under threat, with biodiversity loss and habitat destruction becoming increasingly common. One of the most pressing concerns is sea level rise. As global temperatures increase, glaciers and ice sheets melt, adding more water to the oceans. This, combined with the thermal expansion of water as it warms, is causing sea levels to rise at an unprecedented rate. For a country like the Philippines, with thousands of islands and a vast coastline, this poses an existential threat. Low-lying areas are particularly vulnerable, facing the risk of permanent inundation. Extreme weather events such as typhoons are becoming more frequent and intense. Warmer ocean temperatures provide more energy for these storms, leading to stronger winds, heavier rainfall, and more destructive storm surges. Coastal communities are often in the direct path of these storms, facing the brunt of their devastating power. The frequency and intensity of these events are putting immense pressure on disaster preparedness and response mechanisms. A struggle for survival, livelihoods, and well-being at stake. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is a human rights issue. It threatens the fundamental rights to life, food, water, and a healthy environment. In the Philippines, millions of people rely on agriculture, fishing, and tourism for their livelihoods. Climate change is directly impacting these sectors, putting at risk the well-being of countless families and communities. Rising sea levels and saltwater intrusion are contaminating freshwater sources, making it increasingly difficult to access clean drinking water. This has dire consequences for public health, increasing the risk of waterborne diseases and sanitation problems. The agricultural sector, a cornerstone of the Philippine economy, is facing unprecedented challenges. Changes in rainfall patterns, droughts, and floods are impacting crop yields, leading to food insecurity and economic hardship. The impacts of climate change are exacerbating existing inequalities. Marginalized communities, who often depend heavily on natural resources and have limited access to resources and infrastructure, are disproportionately affected. Women, children, and indigenous peoples are particularly vulnerable, facing increased risks to their health, safety, and livelihoods. Climate change is a threat multiplier, amplifying existing social and economic disparities. Seeds of hope. The Philippines fight back. Despite the immense challenges posed by climate change, the Filipino people are not giving up. They are meeting this threat with characteristic resilience, innovation, and a deep commitment to protecting their land, their culture, and their future. Across the archipelago, communities, organizations, and the government are implementing a range of initiatives to mitigate climate change and adapt to its impacts. One of the key strategies is reforestation. Trees act as natural carbon sinks, absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Reforestation efforts are underway to restore degraded forests and create new ones, enhancing carbon sequestration and protecting biodiversity. Mangrove forests, vital ecosystems that act as natural buffers against storm surges, are also being replanted and conserved. The Philippines is also investing in renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and geothermal. Transitioning away from fossil fuels, a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, is crucial for mitigating climate change. These renewable energy projects not only reduce carbon emissions, but also create jobs and stimulate economic growth in rural areas. A global call to action, our shared responsibility. Climate change is a present reality with devastating consequences. It is a global crisis that requires a global response. Developed countries have a responsibility to support developing nations. Financial assistance, technology transfer, and capacity building are crucial. The Paris Agreement provides a framework for global cooperation. The fight against climate change is about justice, equity, and solidarity. We must act now with urgency and determination. Stand with the Philippines. A plea for a sustainable future. The Philippines may be on the front lines of climate change, but they are not facing this crisis alone. Around the world, people are raising their voices, demanding action, and working towards a more sustainable future. From indigenous communities protecting their ancestral lands, to youth activists mobilizing for climate justice, a global movement for change is gaining momentum. You can be a part of this movement. Support organizations working on the ground in the Philippines to implement sustainable solutions, build resilience, and empower communities. Educate yourself and others about the impacts of climate change and the urgent need for action. Make conscious choices in your daily life to reduce your carbon footprint. Every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. By standing in solidarity with the Philippines and other vulnerable nations, we can create a more just and sustainable future for all. Let us act with courage, compassion, and unwavering determination to protect our planet and ensure that future generations inherit a world where they can thrive. Support climate change initiatives and share this video to spread awareness. Visit our website to learn more and support our initiatives. Together, we can make a difference.